A week engulfed with mixed feelings after KCCA FC bowed out of the CAF Confederations Cup. We bring to you the reactions from the fans, the coach, and the players of KCCA FC after what happened this week at the St. Mary's Stadium, Chitende. We also have a guest in studio this week and a lot more. It is Season 2, Episode 6 of the KCCA FC TV show. My name is Magero Mwanje. You and I are walking this journey together. Now to start it off with the club news from KCCA FC, this week 4 players of KCCA FC were included in the 25-man final squad of the Uganda Cranes that will represent the nation in the CHAN tournament that will be kicking off on the 16th of January up until the 7th of February 2021. The 4 players are goalkeeper and captain Charles Lukwago, defender Dennis Iguma, midfielder Bright Anukani, and also a forward Brian Aheebwa. And Uganda is pitted in Group C alongside teams like Morocco, Rwanda, our neighbors, and newcomers, Togo. And just to tell you more about this tournament, the tournament, just like I said, will be kicking off on the 16th of January up until the 7th of February. Jonathan McKinstry coming out this week to confirm a 25-man squad that represents Uganda, definitely captained by, I see Halid Ruwaliwa, and that is a player at Vipers SC. And definitely KCCA having 4 players in this one. We're normally used to having more than even 4, but we are quite sure that the 4 will represent the football club quite very well because every department is represented: a defender, a goalkeeper, a midfielder, and a forward. And also going to this one, the hot cake in this one should be Brian Aheebwa, a player that has 10 goals in 6 games played for KCCA, 7 in the Uganda Premier League and 3 in the CAF Confederations Cup. You get to think that is the hot cake going to this tournament, and he's going to fly the flag of KCCA higher and also the banner of Uganda Cranes highest. So all the 4 players plus the entire squad of the Uganda Cranes plus the officials that are in Cameroon come the 16th of January up until the 7th of February 2021. We hope you make it to the final of this tournament and get to lift the CHAN tournament for the very first time for Uganda. So kudos to everyone who made the finalist. And we know you're going to represent Uganda quite very well. Now, still about the club news, still this week, the Funds Executive Board for KCCA appointed Sona, call her Sophie Najemba. Most of us know her Sona, that's why I had to mention Sona. She's been the vice president of the Funds Executive Board, but now she's going to be the interim president. This is because the president, who is Kasenge Tom, is involved in politics and he's not able to give the Funds Executive Board 100% service during this period. So she's going to be the interim president for the next 4 months, just from now up until the next 4 months. So we wish her the very best, and we know she's going to steer the football club, that is the Funds Executive Board, to greater heights. And we just wish you all the best, Sophie Najemba, together with the entire Funds Executive Committee, and just keep, raising and growing that funds leadership, and also empowering the funds into different projects and things that can really grow them as funds, and also things that can grow KCCA as a football club. So big up to you, Sophie Najemba, and we know that the funds executive and the funds are in really, really good hands. So nice stuff for you. Now, still speaking about KCCA this week, the club bowed out of the CAF Confederations Cup, something very disappointing, I should say. But in summary of everything, I should say KCCA won the battle on the day, but lost the war, because the war was KCCA had to make it past this stage. But unfortunately, that did not happen. The club winning that game 3-1 at the St. Mary's Stadium, Chitende, but going on to lose on aggregate, because the aggregate was 3-3, but because AS Kigali had received an advantage from CAF, that was the game happening in Rwanda, did not happen because KCCA could not field 15 players on the day. They could only field 13 because the 15 that traveled, 2 players tested positive of COVID-19, and only 13 were able to, be negative. And just as per the CAF rules, you cannot play a CAF game when you do not have 15 players minimum. And because KCCA did not have that, the game was called off, and an advantage handed to AS Kigali. So that meant they would come to the second leg with a 2-0 advantage. The game happening at the St. Mary's Stadium, Chitende, because KCCA could not play at DMT and Omondi after that guidance from CAF that our stadium was not deemed fit to host the CAF game. And then just after the game had started, in the first minute of the game, not even the first minute, the first 20 seconds, before we even warmed up our seats, Brian Aheebwa, that man, getting an assist from Denis Iguma, deep from the defense, a long ball, he heads the ball, and then the ball bounces down, and then he strikes 20 seconds into the game, giving us hope, and then we thought maybe, just maybe, this could be the day.
KCCA etandisa na manyunyo just seconds
nga tulaba akatimbo kwenyenya ku side zonna kyewunyisa. This is a sort of dream kino kyekimu ku birooto byotayogala kubeera nga ovaamu, oyagala osigale ng'oloota paka olunaku olukya lwongera okubeera nga luziba.
Oh my God, mvubuka Brian Aheebwa alabika atandwanga hakizimana Lukwago timu ya AS Kigali ekezaako okwera nga shot bato bote save okuba Charles Lukwago. Two shots okugenda wa goalkeeper Charles Lukwago through the same side omukono Hussein Shabarara. Ndoza Habati achaino okubeera nga yetegereza nnyo omukono afuna yekka Habati atuuka leeti.
Ya Habati atuuse mu koleti enfunda bbiri ezo nga bwe twagambye mu kooti asamba nga left wing back, kitegeeza nti era oba olina okubeera ng'omusuubirako ko maaso go. Obviously ne formation ya timu ya KCCFC ey'abasalo.
In the 36th minute, Brighton Okani played a wonderful ball to Brian Aheebwa, who controlled and struck home to make it 2-0 for KCCFC, leveling the tie at 2-2 on aggregate, going into half-time.
Okujjako nga waliwo ekikyuse mu KCCA efunye ggoolo ey'okubiri. What a day eya Brian Aheebwa yali akikozeeko season yo n'ateba ne goals 4 Brian Aheebwa bw'ati adabolinze lead eya tiimu ya KCCA.
Era levelinze ne aggregate kaakati ne bataddamu kuteeba tekugenda mu extra time, kugenda bugenzi mbusaale. So far oyinza okugamba nti akomezaawo era lyessanyu lyo tulengera. But what a finish okuva ewa Brian Aheebwa. What a day he's having. Mu lunaku KCCFC yeetaaga goal y'omu ku basambi abaamisinga trip eri olwa positive COVID test okusinziira ku reports nga bwe zivaayo. Era what a day okubeera nga orikavaringa ndowooza KCCA.
Now, at the time the team went into half-time, there was a little bit of hope because the tie was leveled at 2-2 and all KCCFC needed was to score a third goal and either defend for their lives or even score 2 more goals. Just maybe if AS Kigali would score 1, that would mean KCCFC needed to score 4-1 in this game. Then going into half-time, the game ended 2-0, and when the players had just returned from half-time, KCCFC made a change, and this time having a player, Stephen Serade, a teenager in his senior 6, and also fresh from the under-20 tournament that happened in Tanzania, coming on for Joseph Kafumbi, and another player, Sadata Naku, coming on for Sam Senyonju, a player that has had a very wonderful run in the Uganda Premier League in search of more positive play and also getting more goals in this game. In the 48th minute, 3 minutes just after the restart, catastrophe struck when Musa Ramadan fouled an AS Kigali player in the box, and then the referee awarded a penalty to AS Kigali. You could feel, you could see it from the faces of every player on the day. They knew that something wrong had just happened and it was not going to be business as usual. Definitely AS Kigali coming up and scoring this penalty to make the tie 2-1, and also on aggregate 3-2 in the 50th minute.
Penalty nungi nnyo. Tiimu ya AS Kigali bw'eti efunye ggoolo ku tiimu ya KCCA. KCCA kulembedde 2-1. Bikyuse AS Kigali efunye awe ggoolo.
KCCA kati yeetaaga okukola ekyo kyetakolagako ku continent, kyekyokubeera ng'eteba at least goals 4, singa kisigala weekiti tekikolangako. Maximum number of goals yali eteebyeko zaali 3, yazikubako tiimu ya Bielsa eya Nigeria, yazikubako FCS Rabat, yazikubako ne bannaffe abalala, naye nga eventually oyinza okulowoozaamu nti Musa Ramadan challenge ode teyeetagisaamu n'akamu n'akeddagala.
Yakoze ensobi yennyini omupiira gumuyise ku vv n'ayagala agenda ataase.
In the 75th minute, Ashraf Mugume, most knownly as Fadiga, played a wonderful ball to Brian Aheebwa. Brian Aheebwa slotting home to make it 3-1 for KCCFC. and 3-3 on aggregate, and also giving the team that hope that maybe KCCA FC would only score one more goal and make it to the next round. And that was in the 75th minute with 15 minutes to play. Now the final 15 minutes were everything because KCCA FC threw all they could towards the back line of AS Kigali. Balls cleared off the lines, ball cleared in the box away by the AS Kigali defense.
Captain eyasibye ekikomo oluvannyuma lw'okubeera nga captain tumanyini yavuddemu Eric Nsabimana. Brian Aheebwa alina agency bamukonyemuko naye tayagadde kubeera ng'agwa because alabye nti anytime asobola okubeera ng'ateeba goal. Nalonkinga omupiira muwanvu mu box naye bazibizi ba ttiimu ya AS Kigali bawanvu nnyo baleeyi balungi.
And that game ending 3-3 on aggregate and also 3-1 on the day in favor of KCCA FC. Brian Aheebwa announcing himself on the continent with a hat-trick on his debut, his first ever CAF game for the football club. But unfortunately, his hat-trick was not enough to ensure KCCA FC would progress to the final round before the group stages. So that meant KCCA FC bowed out of this year's competition, that is the 2019-2020 CAF Confederations Cup competition. And I mean, what a day for Brian Aheebwa. I mean, the positives to pick from this one. And also a couple of players having their debuts on the day. Players like Chiza Joseph Bukenya, a graduate from the junior team. Players like Sam Senyonjo also having his CAF debut on the day. Brian Aheebwa, the hat-trick hero himself, having a debut in this one. Ashraf Mugume playing his first ever CAF game in his life because he never ever played a CAF game in his past football clubs before he joined KCCA FC. Players like Dennis Iguma playing his first CAF game for the club. Kezron Chisto playing his first CAF game for the football club. Joseph Kafumbe, a senior 6 student at Bodo SS, playing his first CAF game for the football club. So a lot of positives in this one. We also had one on the bench in Aida Dominic, a senior 6 student at Masaka SS, who did not come on the day as a substitute, but also featured for his first time for the football club in a matchday squad. And also Charles Ruanga, the substitute, who came on the day, playing his first ever CAF game in his life. You get to think this was a wonderful experience for the boys. KCCA FC winning the battle, but losing the war. And believe you me, the club now has everything to fight for because we are still in the Uganda Premier League and also in the Uganda Cup. But you got to think that this could have been the year because it's been 3 years since KCCA FC played in the CAF competition. So we shall still have to wait a little longer because we did not make it this year. But a lot of positives to pick from this game because players announcing themselves on the big stage, despite the game being called off. For me and everyone at the football club, I think KCCA FC losing this one to COVID, but not to AS Kigali. So speaking about the social media reactions from the various people, players and fans of KCCA FC sponsors, they took to Twitter and gave their reactions after the game, and we shall be reading some of the reactions. We'll start with the player Gift Ali Abubakar, who did not play in this game. Coming on Twitter and saying, man, football can be cruel at times. Proud to say the best team failed to advance to the next round, and surely that should be it. The best team failed to qualify to the next round. Then Stefano Mazengo Loro, who also did not play in this game, taking to his Twitter and saying, exactly, so proud of today's performance, just a whisker away from what would have been an epic and well-deserved comeback. We'll be back next year, that's a guarantee. And that is Stefano Loro Mazengo. Just the captain of KCCA FC, Lukwago Charles, on Twitter saying, not the way we would have loved to bow out of KCCA. We'll pick the positives and bounce back stronger. Together we are united. Hashtag we are KCCA FC. About still the social media reactions, KCCA, the mother body that engulfs everything about KCCA FC, saying, hard luck guys, KCCA FC. Despite the 3-1 win, we had to bow out of the CAF Online Confederations Cup on away goals rule. Let us bounce back better. Hashtag we are KCCA FC. And still about these reactions, Dalton Kawesa, the head of news at Next Media Services, going on Twitter and saying, our boys KCCA FC, you played well, scored goals, protected as captured here by Francis Isano, who took a wonderful picture on the day. The integrity of your country, but those that believe in technicalities continued to the next stage. You will roar more, tebalina chebatugamba chilala. That is Dalton Kawesa, top stuff from Dalton Kawesa. So a lot of reactions happen on the social media pages. You cannot read everything, but I mean, thanks guys for the love you really showed Uganda, the players also coming out to show that they really felt what the fans felt. I mean, on the day the fans wanted us to qualify, the players wanted to qualify, every stakeholder of KCCFC wanted to qualify, but fate had its own plans. And just like I said, and just like many believe, that KCCFC lost to COVID, but not to AS Kigali. And surely the club will bounce back next year, stronger and better. That's all about the social media reactions from the various people around KCCFC. We are going to be going to a break, and when we return, we have a lot more the players' reactions, the fans' reactions, and we have a guest for this week's show. Don't move away. Now, welcome back from that break. Just like I told you, we still have a plethora on the KCCFC TV show tonight, and we have a guest for this one. He will be introducing himself, and then we take it on from there.
Yes, I'm Chiberu Faizo, and I'm privileged to be hosted on KCCA TV. I'm looking forward to share my views with the public and my fellow fans out there.
Now, Faizo, as much as I know, most people call you Mr. KCCFC. Why?
Definitely, they call me Mr. KCCA because of the love, the desire, the philanthropic love I have for KCCFC. That's why they go on to call me Mr. KCCA. It's about desire.
Our fans will have to get some translations of these words.
Definitely, they are used to me. That's why they call me Mr. KCCA.
Wow, okay. Now, this week KCCFC played the game. That was KCCFC versus AS Kigali in the CAF Confederations Cup. Where did you watch this game from? Because I'm sure you were not at Chitende.
Because of the attention I needed and the tension of what? Of the game, I had to watch this game from my place alone, such that I get the maximum attention I needed for this game. I watched it from my place.
Wow. So, Faizo, did you, any positives you picked from this game?
A lot.
What could some of those be?
First of all, like as last season personally, I took Gift Ali to be playing the pivotal role of KCCA. But after critically analyzing this game, I saw that Fadiga, Ashraf Mugume, actually is going now to be acting as the fulcrum of KCCA. That's the positive, the most positive thing I picked from this game, that we are getting another player, that is Fadiga, Ashraf Mugume, who is going to be acting as a fulcrum of the team. So when Gift Ali comes back and they link up, we are going to be having what we call a second-class liver, whereby you're going to be having two players playing pivotal roles. So
who jumps out of that lineup? Because on the day we had Kezron, Anukani, and Mugume. When Gift comes back, the midfielders are you sitting? I'm
sorry, but I'm removing Kezron from that lineup because if you look at Bright Anukani, he has that eye. I think we saw the pass he gave to Brian Aheebwa for that second goal. Yeah. Definitely, you need a player with that creativity. And Gift Ali is going to drift the ball from the defenders. He's going to give it to Fadiga, who is now going to be acting as what? As the pivot of the team. He will be giving the ball to Brighton Kani, who is very intelligent, very brilliant, with that very good last pass. Definitely, I'm sorry, but Kezron will get out of the lineup.
Then in just maybe a minute, your comment on the hat-trick hero on the day, Brian Aheebwa.
Definitely, I have a lot of positive for that hat-trick, but deep down I feel sorry for Brian Aheebwa. Definitely his effort went on unnoticed, but we shall forget that, and I will say Brian Aheebwa is indeed a beast. I rate him like, I consider him, or I somehow see him similar to Diego Costa. I call him a beast. He's a goal poacher. Definitely this season, Brian Aheebwa, watch him out. He's a beast.
Top stuff from Faizo himself, and we're going to still be catching up with Faizo throughout the show. But we're going to get into the players' reactions on this game. Just after the game, we caught up with these players. Just like I told you, we had debutants in this one. We had players that last played the game for the FUFA Juniors League. That is a player in Chiza Joseph Bukenya. His last game was the final against Bull FC for the FUFA Juniors League. Other players making their debut on the day: Kafumbe Joseph, Brian Aheebwa, Sam Senyonjo, Mugume Ashraf, Kezron Chizito, Dennis Iguma also playing his first CAF game for the football club, Charles Ruanga, and the substitute that was not used on the day, Aida Dominic. So here are the players having their reactions after that game between KCCFC versus AS Kigali. Have a look.
My performance against AS Kigali wasn't the performance I wished for. It wasn't the debut I wanted.
We went into that game with definitely a plan to win that game and qualify. So those are part of the preparations that we had as a club.
It's a very huge disappointment to the club and the players. We had set our targets high in the continent.
First of all, scoring 3 goals on my debut, it is a wonderful debut on my side. However much we are disappointed as one team because we didn't qualify. It is a very big disappointment to we as a team and entirely as a country.
Sambi yenne yabadde mu kisaawe buli omu yaweereddwa omukisa yakoze kyonna kyonna ekisoboka okubeera nga ayambako ttiimu at least eyitewo naye tekyasobose naye mu mupiira byonna bibeeramu era twakoze kyonna ekisoboka.
What we needed most is teamwork and togetherness, which we had. We largely had all the attributes that would make us win the game. Yes, we won, but me, I can largely put it on the rules of the game. You don't win 3-1 and you don't qualify. It's so strange.
The team altogether, it wasn't like it was. The camp was devastated. Actually, everything we wished for, everything, all the plans we had, we were very much disappointed.
We are footballers and we know those situations come in football life. So, yeah, we were disappointed, but still, that's the game of football.
It was so unfortunate that we were only able to play one game, but we take the positives from the game. There is a lot that we learned, and we shall take it home.
We wanted to make the group stages and it didn't happen. All the plans we had went in vain. So generally the team, like all the team and the coaches, everyone is not happy, but that's the result God gave us. We just have to stick on what we have now, what we have left, the league and the Uganda Cup. Well, with that, I think God will show us a way there is always a next time for the CAF Confederations Cup and the Champions League.
We thought we would compete so much on the continent, but that's how things turned out. The rules of the game didn't play in our favor. Remember, we didn't play in the first leg. They were given a 2 goals advantage. We tried to turn it around, but we did what we could.
Ngeri tusigaziza ebikopo byewaka tujja kukola ekisoboka okubeera nga tukola bulungi era performance gye twalaze ejjo tujongereko obwongezi mu bikopo ebisigadde wano liigi ne Uganda Cup. Then tujja gulumingira okwo tuwangule kyemanyi bwe tuba tugendedde ku performance ejjo tujja kuwangula ekikopo nga twongeddeko.
There is always a next time, and I wish I hope to do more and do better than I did the other time against AS Kigali. At least we are left with the league and the Uganda Cup. Now we are all setting our minds and all our targets on winning the league, the Uganda Premier League and the Uganda Cup. Because now that's the only hope we have for us to get chance to get opportunity to play in the Champions League again or the CAF Confederations Cup, but most especially CAF Champions League.
My fans and the fans entirely of the KCCA Football Club, they should not be disappointed. We still have other competitions coming up. They should come up. This is the real time that we need them most. They should not run away. They keep supporting us. We hope for the best in the coming competitions.
To you, the fans, we are going to compete in the league and in the Uganda Cup. We're going to try our best to win those 2 championships because those are the ones we are left with to play for. So we're going to divert all our energies to those championships, and all our focus is now on those ones. But we thank you. We were following. You were positive. You kept the hopes alive. So let's turn the focus to the league and the Uganda Cup.
Wow. So interesting views from the players themselves. Those are the guys that played on the day. We could not have everyone But we picked out a few, the captain and the guy who scored a hat-trick on the day. And then for me, the highlight should be the debutant. The player last played a football club game for KCCA FC in 2019. That is a player in Chiza Joseph Bukenya, a teenager, fresh from the under-20 CECAFA AFCON zonal qualifiers that happened in Tanzania and was coached by Coach Mole. Scored 1 goal in that one. But just to talk about this player, Chiza Joseph Bukenya, handed his first game for the senior football club. In a big game like this one, what do you have to say about his performance on the day? Were you pleased, or you can excuse him because he's a young man?
Definitely, I was not pleased. I will not hide this. But from the positive side, first of all, yes, Mike Mutabi says if you're a footballer, you have to play in all positions. Yes, but I've watched, I call him Rashford. Like I've watched him in FIFA Junior League, and he's used to playing in more advanced positions. But if you look at the role he was handed to play on that day, he was playing more like a right back, is it?
It was a 3-5-2 formation.
Yes,
and
he was trying. He had to come back deep and get the ball from the defenders. We all know what Bukenya Chiza can do. Actually, he is the best dribbler I've seen in this country. Yes, many people might have not seen him, but if you watch the FIFA Junior League critically in the seasons he played for KCCA, definitely you rate him as the best dribbler in the league. So, since he was young, he was playing his debut on the continent. I will excuse him, though I was not pleased. He didn't do his role as it was expected, but we shall pick the positive, that he got experience and exposure, and we hope he will come back stronger next season.
Do you feel there's still room for improvement for the young man, or do you think it's going to be dejected by this one?
Not really. Definitely, if you're surrounded by Iguma, now that's the role of Iguma as a senior player on the team. I think he already did his role. It's just to motivate these players. They are young. The Kezonos are doing their role. He will come back stronger.
Just looking on Twitter here, there's a comment from another person that works here at Next Media, the PRO, Desire Directford Mogisa, saying, I hope Musa Ramadan just gets to know that this was one of those games, and he shouldn't take the mistake that he made a little bit personal. I think he's talking about that 48th minute foul that Musa Ramadan made on Mr. Lawal of AS Kigali, and then the referee awarded the penalty. Do you think this has a psychological thing that it will affect the player?
Definitely, I feel sorry for Musa. I'm sorry, because I've watched those errors. I think I've seen so far like 3 or 4 from the same person. Yes, Musa is young, and that moment needed someone who is old with a very good mentality and quick decision making. That error could have been avoided in the first minute.
If you were the coach, who would have you played?
Definitely, I will not hide this, but Magambo was needed in that position.
For who?
For Musa.
Okay.
Because we were at that moment, the game was very, very, very sensitive. Any mistake you could do could lead to elimination of the team, and you needed experience. Honestly, Magambo could have come in, or Kato. These are people who have had a lot of exposure, and they could think in the least microsecond needed. Actually, what Musa did, yes, this is a game, but it was uncalled for. Okay. I think it could be avoided.
Wonderful. That is Faizo giving his opinions and saying what Musa did on the day was uncalled for, but saying, he's still a young man. He can still grow from this one. We have had players that have made such mistakes before and have grown on, and right now they are national team players. Those who remember Timothy Dennis Awani, the former captain of KCCA FC, while growing up, he was subject to such mistakes, and I think it's something, part of the growth path. So, Mr. Musa Ramadan, I know you watch this show. Please do not get that mistake getting to your head. We know you'll bounce back from this one. It was just one of those games, and there's still a lot to play for. You're still a teenager, and one in the ranks of the national team under 20 and a lot more. So, big up to you. And you stood up, fought for the team on the day. And also, just to mention a comment from the captain saying, not the result we should have wanted on the day, but we shall pick the positives and go again. Strong words from the captain, Charles Lukwago. Right now, he's watching this show from Douala, that is in Cameroon, where the Uganda Cranes is currently residing ahead of the Chan tournament. So big up to you, the captain of KCCA FC, that is Mr. Charles Lukwago. We still have a lot of reactions on the show tonight because we're going to be going straight into it in the next segment. We have the fans and then they gave their opinions after the game. We're going to be hearing from the fans straight from them. Everything happening after this break. Now welcome back from that break. Just like I told you, we still have a lot on the show, a plethora of stuff, the source that you get from the KCCA FC TV show, and still with my guest here on the show, Mr. Faizo, will be breaking it down for us. And Faizo, we're going to be jumping to the fans' reactions. Now we have the fan zone in this one. As a fan, what do you think, should be next for KCCA FC? The club had a mission at the beginning of the season, which was Group 14-11, making the group stages of the Confederations Cup, winning the 14th Uganda Premier League title, and winning the 11th Uganda Cup. One of the things is off and only 2 to go. As a fan, what do you think should be done next by the football club?
Definitely, KCCA is not going to end today. That's not the end of all. Definitely, Baganda have a saying, wow. Let us just pick the positive. Let us now work hard for the next tournament. Definitely, we are now going to compete domestically. Let the boys give it all. Let them do what they can do, such that they prove to us that indeed it was COVID that made us be to get bound of CAF Foundations Cup last season, that we are now here. Because, you have seen, this season, the league is very competitive. If you don't work hard, you may not even qualify.
Wow, some of the reactions from the fans on the various social media pages coming out to say that COVID stood in the way of KCCA FC and KCCA FC lost to COVID, not to AS Kigali. What do you personally think as Faizo?
Definitely, AS Kigali is an amateur team. It's a very small team. Honestly, if you saw how goals were going in, you could tell that AS Kigali could not beat us even 2 goals when we are in Rwanda. Of course, we didn't play and we didn't get that opportunity. But I believe if anyone watched the game, you couldn't tell that KCCA could be beaten by AS Kigali in Rwanda. No. Definitely, it's COVID, because COVID gave them 2 goals. That's why we bought out of the league.
Do you feel CAF's decision was a little bit harsh?
It's harsh. Why? Let us compare. If we are trying to develop African football, we should always compare ourselves to whites. How can you say that because this is a pandemic, the team has no control, you can't control that I will not get contracted with this disease? Definitely, CAF coming out and saying that they will penalize you with 2 goals over something you don't have control, then I don't go with that decision. Because time is on our side, we are going in Chan. You never know, you could have played the game in Feb. I don't think Champions League is going to go on when we are in Chan, because they are the same players playing. So definitely CAF could have called the game, as we are seeing the Manchester Everton, and we play it when the situation stabilizes. There is no need for penalizing a team over, because even in Africa is full of corruption. We have seen a team in FC Platinum in Tanzania, whereby officials from Simba, the one offering results of COVID. Definitely, I don't think with African setting, I don't think penalizing a team with 2 goals is a fair thing. No. Wow. Time was on our side. We are going in Chan. You could have played the match in Feb.
Well, that is Faizo Chiberu giving his opinion about how CAF really reacted onto, KCCA FC not having the required number of players for the game to start. KCCA FC traveling with 15 players to Kigali, 13 tested negative, 2 tested positive. That meant the game had to be called off according to the CAF rules. And definitely KCCA FC going to the second round or the second leg with a 2-0 deficit and the 2-0 advantage being to AS Kigali. Another scenario happened this week when Asante Kotoko of Ghana, players tested positive of COVID-19 and they could not play the game against Al Hilal of Sudan. Al Hilal played Vipers in the CAF Champions League. So we still will be having more of these things, because it looks like clubs are going to start picking onto this one. We definitely know the pandemic is there, but what happens if clubs take advantage of the pandemic and start eliminating teams technically by getting players out? So we're going to be getting to hear from the fans who gave their reactions after this game, and hear the fans saying it out, from their hearts, because most of them watched the game on TV, others heard or listened to this game on radio. So here are the fans giving their opinions after this game.
Amanyanze Kafero Ali amanyiddwa nga Mabeere omuwagizi wa KCCA Football Club kansala to be Makereka Ogube Parish
amanya Zena Mutebi Anisha ngavudde Kawempe division
amanya Zena Buli Sara mbeera Kawempe ndi muwagizi wa KCCA Capital State Authority tuli bafanizi club be Kawempe
ku mupiira gw'eggulo ogwasambiddwa ekitende saabadde mu mativu n'akatono okusinziira ku mbeera KCCA manyiddwa nnyo mu kikopo kino okubeera nti y'emu ku club ezisinga okusamba mu bikopo bino kubanga kibali kituwalidde ebbanga nga lya myaka nga gigi egiwerawerako kubeera nga mu kikopo ekyo tubeerayo olw experience yaffe gitubeera nayo olw'omutindo gutuba tuwolesezza era kyova olaba nti teyali nsobi KCCA okutugamba bwe tugenda kusooka kusamba mupiira gusooka
kirabu byonna yabikoze byonna ebisoboka yabikoze naye ekintu kya COVID-19 kyekyatuleetera obuzibu singa gemu yasooka twagizannya twabadde tulina okujja mu ttiimu y'e Rwanda kuba wano mu East Africa nsuubira tuli b'amaanyi
nze ndowooza abaana bakoze ekyabadde ekisoboka kyonna naye embeera eno gye tulimu eya COVID tulina gemu gye twamiisinga nga tetwasobola gizannya olw'embeera ya COVID twabadde twetaaga goals 3-0 ne batukuba golo nga tulina okunoonya okuna naye ng'olwedde obudde buweddeyo
kuba we twabadde ffenna twanyogoze twabadde tumanyi tumaze okuteeba egolo zaffe ebbiri ezasoose ezo era singa teyabadde penalty ate nga ne penalty nalaba yadde yakyeyonoonere twabadde tumaze okuyitawo
abaana basambye bakoze buli kimu by the way they were inaugurated ku mutindo gwa KCC pressure eyo okulaba nti basobodde okuba golo ze twagala naye era twaconsidinze okutebwa golo eyo kiyinza okuba kyazze nga experience akatonotono kwajjukira ttiimu yaffe ezeekyuka kati omupiira ngaawo guyina we gutuuka nga weetaagawo bakaliba abasajja bakaliba naye with the time kuba experience efunibwa omuntu kasita omuinogulatinga nga omupiira gwajjo awo tufunira experience so tusuubira bajja kukola bulungi gye bujja emipiira bw'ofulumako emipiira bw'otandika okufulumako waliwo element erina okuyingiramu kati ngaawo walabye Musa Ramadhan kye yakoze banne baabaddewo naye ka experience ndowooza ayinza okuba yalowoozeza is the last man naye nga all in all gye tulaga tulabayo KCCA yo gyeraga erabayo
wabula nze kye nandisabye ongeremu amaanyi eno ku back kuba ndaba eyo wabulaabulamuko naye eno bastrikers tubalina era ke twafuna Aheebwa amaanyi mangi kati mu center awo gye bayita midfield awo wabulaabulamuko twagalamuko tufunemu abantu abalinamu bode omanyi sometimes omusambi opponent wo bw'alaba nti oli wanyama ntono however much oli mulungi nnyo aba akuyiikiriza kati gwe ate oyinza okumutya olwa bode gy'akola ki kati nze mbadde njagala at least emabega eyo bateekeyo agasajja agalimuko gakanyama awo tuyinza okukola obulungi
naye kyanneewunyisiza okubeera nti omupiira gutusoose okusamba olw'ensonga entonotono oba oluusi oli awo olw'okubeera nti zaavudde mu butekkiririzaamu ku basambi abaliwo oba n'ensobi oluusi zikoleddwa abatendesi baba baffe tuli batekiniko naye oluusi oyinza okusanga oba tekiniko yeevaako ebigambo ng'ebyo tosobola kuŋŋamba ti mu kiraabu ng'eno ku basambi abalina experience oba ffe awo experience tuyambirawa ku basambi abalina experience abaludde mu kikopo ekyo kyennyini kyetusambirako kati ngaawo tosobola kuŋŋamba nti nno Obenchan Fillbert amaze ebbanga nga ku kiraabu ku continent kwali asamba n'abeeranga siri mutendesi n'abeeranga tasamba mupiira ng'ogwo era tosobola kuŋŋamba tomusambi nga Machete Magambo Peter asobola okubeera nga alekebwa ebbali ku mupiira ng'ogwo. Coach Makestre yeesiga musaminga kato n'amugamba nti ku ttiimu y'eggwanga jangu tutandika okusamba muko, naye neewunyisiza okulaba nga abo bonna abasambi abalina experience basigadde ebbali. Kwe kusalawo okuleeta abaana abato benandisuubidde nti mwana ng'oyo muto olina okumuzimbira ku bali abasajja abakulu. Kyova olaba nti twaleeta ba Denis Iguma okutwongera okugumya bano abaana abato, naye nobeesiga omwana omuto, omwana nga Kafumbe n'omuwa eddakiika ezo zonna n'abira ku kisaawe, omwana nga Kiza n'omuwa eddakiika ezo zonna. Abo abaana bayitirivu obulungi, banoonya okubakyaya ababagizi n'okubakyaya abantu bonna. Tosobola kuŋŋamba nti omwana ng'oyo ogenda okumuwa eddakiika ezo zonna ku kisaawe ng'abasambi abalina experience weebali. Abaana balungi bamanyi omupiira, naye abo abaana ajjemu ng'omaze okumugamba nti amaze okulaba embeera eyo eriwo yeetaagisa ki, tuliriddawa. Omwana yabawadde obuvunaanyizibwa ku ttiimu ng'eyo, kirabu ng'eyo erina ebigendererwa bingi nnyo. Ekyokulabirako tunulira ku Simba ettiimu ze tuba tusimba okubeera wane, Simba ettiimu ze tuba tusobola okubeera nti tuzakulabirako. Yagenze eri mu Platinum Stars ne bagikuba embwereere, kyabadde yagala yakifunye, yakubye goolo 4. KCCA bye ebigambo byebadde alina okukola ki.
Era ndowooza walabye tempo y'omupiira bwe twafunye goolo, abasajja ne batuleetera kati naffe twafunye obudde ate ne tusetolinga ne tutandika obbasambamu mu ddakiika nga 35 awo ne tutereramu. Awo twafunidde goolo ey'okubiri, ate ne bajja ne batusombera naye kati ke kali keggayisi nga kabaddemu ka experience awo ne batandika okukwatiriramu empanvu eziva mu maaso ne zidda emabega ne bawummula, ne ziva eno ne zidda eri ne bawummulamu. Kati ka pressure kabaddewo, nakwata akubayo, nakwata agira bwati, ndowooza n'okukasiba ttaaki obwedda tewera nga balinga abatali ba KCC, kuba ffe KCC ttaaki olina okugusiba kifeewa ne waffe that is primary, tukisuubira buli, naye obwedda ne gubuuka ne gudduka. Kati wabaddewo confidence eyo yabuzeemu naye nga ttiimu yaffe gyeraga tulabayo.
Kyabadde kirungi nnyo abaana abo abato okubawa ku mupiira, ate nabo beeyongera okuguma n'okufuna experience mu maaso eyo gye bujja ate tuddemu tufune essanyu nga lye tubadde nalyo.
Kyensuubira nti nno abatendesi baffe balina oba pressure ebayitirirako ku mipiira ng'egyo. Si gwe gusoose, twali tusamba Mamelodi Sundowns omupiira ng'ogwo tukukulembedde eddakiika 75, omutendesi waffe n'ajjayo abantu basamba omupiira naawa Omunigeria, nga mu biseera ebyo Omunigeria yali tasamba wadde kakungulu kaapu nga tamumuwa. Kyamwewunyisa okubeera nga Akenyemi, nti Akenyemi yamugjayo n'amuyingiza ate mu ddakiika 2 n'akola ki, n'amugjayo. Simanyi ba pressure ebeerawo ku basambi ng'abo be batu, era twakomekereza. Ate n'agyeba striker n'aleeta Musamali mu namba 9, twakomekereza ogwo mupiira mugujjukira gwa Mamelodi Sundowns, era bwe twagufiira. Omupiira ogwaddako wano eno mwagulaba yali Agusito oba Otoho, yakulaga nti nno bakyambadde ebyo tubagenda eri ne Muzamiri Mutyaba teyawa mu mupiira. Simanyi oba pressure emuyitirirako ku mupiira ng'egyo eminene, simanyi lwaki omutendesi akyusakyusa nnyo. Siri mumativu nakyo, siri mutendesi, naye okusinziira nga naffe abawagizi ennaku ebeera eno ng'etuluma. Bigambo bingi nnyo ku mipiira ng'egyo, kati ffe tufuuka ekisekererwa eno ebbali ng'abawagizi. Oli n'akugamba mwasambye eki. Kakati amazima Katonda kati emyaka 3 egy'omudiringanwa tetugenda mu kikopo ng'ekyo, tetumanyi kigenda mu maaso. Kiraabu tuba tulinawo akalembeekeza, ndaba nga n'akalembeekeza tuba tulinamu ku bikopo ng'ebyo kabeddewo.
Naye ffe ng'abawagizi abamu tumanyi kiraabu buli kimu yakikoze, goolo zanywedde, naye singa twasamba omupiira guli twade tujja kuyitawo. Kuba COVID issue tosobola ginenyeza club. It's a world over issue. Nawulidde ne tiimu ezimu mu Africa bazi nazo zalemeddwa ezimu emipiira nesimanyi ne giba postponed. So that was beyond the club. Yeah. But otherwise abaana bataddewo omutindo kyekyo kye twagala.
Kilabu kati engeri gyesigadde mu kibinja ky'emipiira gya Uganda gyokka kyerina okola kwongeramu nnyo maanyi ate n'okulaba nga naffe abawagizi batuwa ku ssanyu nze ndowooza nga kiraabu bandibadde bawa abaana abo contracti nga mpanvu basobole okutegeera ne bakooki okubayambako okutegeera abaana abo okubayongeramu amaanyi wa we banafuya.
Tukwatirire abasambi abo be tulina tubakwata. Omusambi omukwata otya omuwa contract n'abeerawo oba bamuguze ekyo kiba kyanjawulo naye tulina tendense desire contract nezigenderera buli omusambi n'atambula butambuzi contract nezigira omusambi n'atambula butambuzi naye nga kirabu ekwata abasambi ezo zonna ttiimu ze tuvuganya nazo zicontractinga abasambi. Tosobola kunga nti omusambi omulungi kati tugeze Brian Aheebwa abuzaako omwaka gumu contract yeggweko tonnamutuuza tonnayogera naye wano beegenti be Uganda mubamanyi ng'atandika wano bakuwa zino wano bakuwa zino naye omusambi muwe obudde bakooki bo technical aba alaba nti ono ajja tuyamba muwe contract akuba contract omuzannyo muwa contract kyetaagisa ssente naye tubawe contract naffe tusobole okufuna ekyomu maaso. Kyova olaba omugigi guli ogubaddewo ogwo omugigi gwe tubadde tusambirako emabegaawo gwalina contract singa mpanvu gyali oba myaka enaawo 3 enaawo. Kyova olaba twasobola tubadde tusamba bulungi awo naye ne bano ne tubakwatiriramu emyaka nga 3-4 okifuna omupiira oteekamu okujjamu.
Yadde batuggyemu nze nkyalina okukkiriza nti KCCA ekyasobola okukola ki obulungi. Kati singa tulwane nnyo abatendesi bongeremu amaanyi abazanyi bongeremu amaanyi wano mu Premier League eno gye tuzannye eno gye tuliko Uganda Premier League tusobole okuwangula ekikopo ekyo tukitwale awo abazanyi bajja kuddamu amaanyi naffe abawagizi yadde tetuli mu bisaawe naye tubeerayo ebbali eyo nga tukola ki nga tuwagira. Era tulina ennaku nnyingi nnyo olwa COVID tetukyafuna ssanyu ly'abazanyi baffe kubanga bwe twaba boostinganga nga nabo beeyongera amaanyi naye nsuubira tujja kukola bulungi era nsaba kooki Mike Mutebi ne bakooki banne bongeremu amaanyi tutwale ekikopo ekya Premier League.
Neyanzike naye siri musanyufu n'akatono nsigadde nze Kafeero Ali Mabeere kansala w'Emakerere Kagugube Parish.
Interesting opinions from the fans. I'll pick out a one Mabere, commonly known as Mabere, but Kafeero Ali, he's his right name. He's also contesting to become a councillor somewhere.
He will pay for that.
Wow! But Mabere coming out to say that he felt that that game needed experienced players, just like you mentioned, and also coming out to say that are there players that did not give 100% on the day? That is his opinion as him. What do you think? Are there players that you feel did not give 100%?
Definitely, as a fan, I think I'll blame the coach this time. This game, there were like 3 players whom I think a lot of younger players were a bit more on the stadium. When you look at Kafumbe, Bukenya Chiza, you're fielding Musa, definitely I think you could start one of those 3. Me, I will go with Magambo, was needed in that defense because this game is very sensitive. We have seen, I will compare Diego Simeone in more on those knockout stages. He doesn't play with the knockout stage. You need someone with who can make a decision in a microsecond because experience was much needed here. I will go with Mabere, I agree. A lot of young players, there were many on the stage, on the pitch. At least you could field one. Because you know Mike Mutebi is a man who wants always to prove. And he had made it. But you saw that element came out. He had made it because we had qualified. But the element of maturity and wanting to show the world that he believes in young players, which is not bad, but it finally costed us.
Some of the fans still coming out to say that they believe COVID was the reason why we did not qualify. They think if we had played that first leg, that team that they saw on Wednesday play against KCCA could not have beaten them in
Definitely, Baganda have a saying, we know we had lost it in Rwanda. We had to come and re-energize. We regroup ourselves and we plan again, and we had made it. But I will tell you, decision-making costed us. We had already 2 goals. We had 45 minutes of looking for what? Just 1 goal or 2 goals. But definitely we reached at a time and you could see that the team needs maturity. Where Bukenya Chiza could not work, Kafumbe was powered down. Actually, he was substituted. And we needed that experience. We need someone who is going to come and tell the boys, you know what? We are KCCA.
But in the Gaffer's defense, I would say this. Yes, you could have wanted a different, probably, player on the pitch on the day. Probably more experienced player. But then he did not have those many offensive players on the bench in his defense, according to, because if you look at the defense, I mean, on the bench, he had players like Magambo, he had players like Kato, Obenchan. These are all defenders. He had Aheebwa Dominic, another youngster. I don't know if you would have wanted him to play on the day. So if you were the gaffer, which would have been your 11 to start this game?
Magero, you've seen Obenchan. Obenchan is my OB from Masaka. You know what Obenchan can do. Obenchan is a goal-scoring defender. Obenchan is going to give you a goal at any minute of the game. We needed someone who is going to move from the... Because Obenchan is a goal-scoring defender. Actually, I would have substituted Musa in the first half for Obenchan. Since we are going to give it all, we are hunting for a goal.
The second goal.
Yes. Let me bring in Obenchan, who is going to give you two roles. He's going to defend first of all, and he's going to go and hunt for goals.
Your 11 on the day. Your best 11 on the day.
Definitely, Mwanje Ali was going to be in my goal.
Was ineligible for the game? But go on. Okay, that is...
Okay, Mwanje Ali was supposed to... If I was the gaffer and he was and his fit, Mwanje Ali would come in my goal. Number 2, I will use a 3-man defense. Definitely Iguma, Obenchan, and Magambo. Experience. This is a do-or-die game.
No Achai?
No.
Okay.
I'm not giving Achai.
In the midfield?
Midfield, I'm going to use a 3 midfield. I'm going to use Achalafu Mugume, Kezron Chizito, and Bright Anukani. Then, my striker, definitely the beast, Brian Aheebwa. I will make him play with Senyonjo. How many are those?
Those are 9.
9.
So I'm looking for the
then
guys on the wing.
Definitely in the wing, since we had no people to play, I would use Kafumbe and Bukenya Chiza.
That's the same lineup, the gaffer.
No,
you
the defense.
The defense.
The defense was very important.
Thank you very much.
Obenchan would give you a goal at 10 minutes.
Wonderful. That is Mr. Faizo Chiveru. Thank you very much. A medic, I should say.
Definitely.
Yes, a medic with, I mean, top-class love for sport. Thank you very much. That has been Faizo Chiveru giving his opinions. We shall have more fans on the show. And just to tell you that football will resume in February. That is the Uganda Premier League. And we'll be also showing on Sanyuka TV, just like the KCCA FC TV show does. And that is the StarTimes Uganda Premier League also. StarTimes being the sponsors of KCCA FC. We'll be having a lot, very many fans during this period and up until the league resumes. But we just want to thank everybody that has been part of the show tonight. And just to, give a shout out. Don't you think I was really smart today?
Definitely you are.
Yes, I have
I'm looking for your designer.
I definitely have a designer, and Animac Fashion Store is my designer, just located here in Bukoto, and they're on Facebook and Instagram called Animac Fashion Store. They're located at Great Margil Shopping Center, just behind Oryx Petrol Station, Bukoto, room number GFL04. And you can get them on 0753-839-905. That is Animac Fashion Store on Facebook and on Instagram. So that's been it for Season 2, Episode 6 of the KCCA FC TV show. Next week we'll be back with Season 2, Episode 7, still of the KCCA FC TV show. My name is Magero Mwanje. Have a good night.